Thank you for watching, liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing right now.
Okay, now it should be posting here in about 5 seconds. So hey everyone just joining us, you're probably wondering, who are these people? Well, I'm not Chris Pirillo, though I do have discussion juice, a la Chris Pirillo style, and I hope the rest of the Nomis have some juice as well.
Is that Hawaiian Punch? It looks like Hawaiian Punch.
Well, this is one of my wife's drinks. It's a Mike's Hard something or other.
Lemonade?
Mike's Hard. I think it might
Cranberry.
be a lime
Cranberry
or cranberry
yeah.
sauce, or I don't know what, but yeah, it's the only drink we had in the fridge that wasn't milk.
No.
So anyway, we're going to go through, this is TLDR, it's our Friday edition. It's usually a more laid-back edition, or at least we try to make it that way. I'm Matt Ryan. I work for Locker Gnome. You've probably seen a few of my articles. We're going to be discussing one of them today at least. Also joined by Jake Luddington, who, if you've been watching the stream at all over the past few years, you've seen Jake. He's definitely been one of the cornerstones of the Locker Gnome family, and probably one of the hardest working people I've ever met in that regard. Also, for those of you watching, the Nomis are joining us. How you doing, Nomis?
Doing good.
All's well?
Awesome. So we're going to have a variety of Nomis coming in and out during the broadcast. These are members of our community that signed up through nomis.com. They're subscribers, they're supportive members, and most importantly, they're like-minded individuals. They love tech. They love some of them Lego. They love all the things that we love to write about over at Locker Gnome, so we do appreciate having them with us. All right, and I'm going to go into the first video here in just a second. All right, recording video on Google Hangouts is what we're doing right now. If you're watching this video, you're probably watching something that came out of a Google Hangout. In fact, you are. I can tell you this right now. This is done through Fraps, which is being hosted over on another system. I may be able to share the screen here in a minute, so I'm not going to try it right now. And Fraps allows me to record just the speaker and not all the pictures that are going on below into a video file so that I can edit it and post it in as a segment later on. And that's one of the tips. We have an article over on lockergnome.com called How to Record a Google Hangout. And it's basically gives you step-by-step instructions on Fraps, Camtasia, which is a great option for the Mac, on how to record a Google Hangout so that you can post it to YouTube, to a podcast, or what have you. And it's a great way to just make a visual record of a Hangout that you've had. And this article goes through those details. Have any of you tried Google Hangouts or recording videos online?
Well, until TLDR, I've never really used Google Hangouts. It's completely new, and it's, to be honest, fantastic. It's working brilliantly.
Awesome. And Google actually has a built-in Hangout recording mechanism that they're testing out with YouTube partners, and it's one of the ways that we're able to post Google Hangouts on YouTube so quickly. There are a few downsides. For example, it's formatted in a way that's more of an advertisement for Google Hangouts than it is an actual useful video in many regards. The thumbnails down here are great. I love them. But if you're trying to do something a little bit more professional, you may not want to see somebody picking their nose when they think they're not, up front and center. And you want to give someone the freedom to stand up and walk around without being noticed by the audience. So a screen capture technique, such as with Camtasia, where you can just pick the screen, like from this corner here to that corner right there, and just that will be captured. You can do that through Camtasia, through ScreenFlow, which is another one of my favorites, and other programs. Do any of you know of any good programs for capturing screens in video?
For Windows? Or
For Windows, Mac, Linux, what have you?
for Windows, there's a great free one just called Cam Studio, and it's completely free. I believe it's open source as well.
Oh, wow.
You can just literally record part of the screen, and you can have it move with your mouse as well, which works even better. And it's best of all, it records 1080p as well, and it's completely free. It's a screen recorder.
Well, awesome. Awesome. Okay, so, and that's Cam Studio, you said?
Yeah, that's Cam Studio.
right, well, cool. See, there's open source things out there. There's lots of ways to get your video podcasting dream on through Google Hangouts or Skype. I've done a lot of podcasting through Skype, and it's awesome in many regards. There are some downsides to everything. Skype will drop calls left and right. Sometimes you'll get the Mr. Roboto voice going. But there are a lot of different creative ways you can do it, and you can find out about a few of them on our article at lockergnome.com. All right, I've stopped that recording. So far, so good.
Uploaded individually.
Yeah, those videos will be individual, but there's this. What we're doing right now is part of a larger video that's being done.
Right, okay.
I think next we can probably tackle what you would do in a power outage.
Blimey. Chris would be the perfect person to talk about something like that.
Yeah, Chris wanted so bad to be a part of the Hangout, but it's very difficult to do that and record. Which, yeah, without internet service, it's almost impossible.
Hangouts do not work well on 3G.
No.
No.
Especially not 3G being flooded by people without internet service.
Yeah, because everyone's using it.
Yeah.
We have
Alright,
like a
so
robotic gorilla in the Hangout.
go into that. I'm going to hit record here in a few seconds. Hey everyone, this is not Chris Perillo. I do have my Hangout juice. My name is Matt Ryan. I work with LockerGnome, and I'm joined by Jake Leddington, also with LockerGnome, and the Nomis. That's right, all the Nomis that could make it to this Hangout are here. They subscribe through nomis.com, which is a great service that we've just started that allows you to get exclusive deals on software. There's exclusive video you can watch through our Facebook page, rather, and much more. But one of the perks is you get to take part in Hangouts on a regular basis with Chris when he's not experiencing a power outage, which is what's going on right now. So, speaking of power outages, it's definitely a drag when you don't have internet service, you don't have your computer running, you don't have anything that can't run on a battery at your disposal. So I guess we'll talk about what geeks can do during a power outage to survive. So I'll throw this one to the floor. What do you guys think?
I would probably use my Alienware laptop till it died. The battery dropped. Tether it to my iPhone as long as that lasted. Then when all of that failed, probably use my PSP or whatever. And then read books on my iPad till that dies. That's the game plan right there. All right. Yeah, and I know those Alienware machines. I've had one before, and they're great. But man, those batteries. Have they gotten any better over the years? My my Alienware laptop will run about 6 to 7 hours without being plugged in.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I have the M11 model. And it works great. I don't have a problem with that at all. That may actually beat the MacBook Pro that I have. I have a 13-inch, and it'll say 7-8 hours remaining on that battery, but it's gone in a few minutes. I've had that happen with the MacBook I had because I had a MacBook before this. And yeah, that's another thing about batteries, man. They start out with so much life, and then over time they gradually deplete in their capacity, and it's just terrible. I'd say during a power outage, though, one thing I would do, we had a power outage here a few days ago, and the first thing I thought of was go to the nearby coffee shop, which brand will remain nameless, and sap their energy. You know, they have outlets that are available to customers and an internet connection, and that works great as long as you have money for coffee. That's true.
Yeah.
But
I'm sorry, I was going to say, or you can run a really long extension cord from that coffee shop to your house. Absolutely, absolutely. I also found libraries, public libraries, often will have an area where you can plug in and enjoy Wi-Fi. It's not in all of them, but some of them do have that service for people, which is nice.
What also I could suggest would be power inverter for your vehicle.
Oh,
That's
Good
true.
idea.
Don't forget that.
Yeah,
So you can charge it and then try to find somebody's Wi-Fi.
That's
Make
a
sure
great
you
idea.
make sure you're using a VPN though.
No.
Yeah.
Of course.
That is a great idea. I've always wondered if you should, how trustworthy that power is. Like, should I bring a surge protector? You know,
Yeah.
'cause I know my car doesn't run half the time. Would I trust it to my electronics? But that is a viable option for.
Yeah, I've had plenty of luck with it.
Ah,
Every time
awesome.
it's started. So.
That's a great one.
Yep.
Any other ideas from the Nomis?
Using a generator.
Generator is actually something that Chris is using right now.
Buy a lot of diesel.
Keep the home heated.
His is actually natural gas powered.
Wow.
Oh.
That would be a lot better than gasoline, because man, I could imagine going through a few gallons of that every hour or so.
I think the natural gas ones are also quite a bit more quiet.
That's good.
Yeah, I've got a gas generator, so.
And my parents were hit by Hurricane Claudette, which hit Texas probably 5 or 6 years ago. And I went down there. They didn't have power for a week, and they had a gas-powered generator. And all I remember is how loud that thing sounded when nobody had electricity. Like every neighbor knew we had it, and I think we had to, because it was so loud, we had to actually give an extension cord to our next door neighbor so that he could have his refrigerator powered, and he wasn't too upset about all the noise.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a pretty good solution. I mean, generator's an investment, and it's a worthwhile one when you need it.
Yeah, and there's different ways of hooking up the generator to your house. I think if you have an electrician, you can actually have it so it powers the main wiring in your house versus having to run extension cords to the generator itself. So.
Oh, that's a great idea. And man, it's always nice to have alternatives for when the power goes out. I have a little Clearwire hotspot, which unfortunately is not around me, but I use that as a backup internet source whenever I do have to go on battery for an extended period of time. It works okay. Clear. I love you guys, but man, quit throttling my service. But for the most part, if you need to get email out and you need to get work done, that a battery-powered, portable hotspot is a great way to keep connected between having the lights on.
One of the things I do, I have like an 11,000 milliamp battery backup that will charge any of my USB devices, and so something like a phone or one of those like little pucks from Verizon or Sprint or whoever will last quite a while on that extra 11,000 milliamps.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, I guess the things with those battery packs, though, is like we were talking, they have a certain life as well. So it's kind of depressing to put all that money into something that you can recharge so many times, and then it starts to slowly lose its charge. But that's life.
Yeah. Yeah, it would also be kind of nice. I worked for an electric company for 5 years, and it would be very nice if repairs would just go faster. We have all this technology in the world. We have meters that can communicate via radio signals to the meters next to them to compare the amount of wattage that they're getting. And we can't get the electric company a better way of finding out where the source of the power outage is. I mean, there's a gap there in that technology. I remember we would get calls in the middle of the night, and all of a sudden 1,000 people would be out, and we wouldn't know which line the outage sourced from, and it would take another 2 hours to get somebody restored on a half-hour repair. And it's just, unfortunately, that's the way it works. But hopefully technology will improve. Power companies, please.
And smart meters.
Yeah, good old smart meters. All right, well, I'll go ahead and end this video. See you later. Trying to limit the length of the videos only because Fraps makes huge files.
These
I do not know how much to trust them.
It will condense them in with decent quality.
Yeah, I'm going to run them through Sony Vegas, which
oh yeah.
I love Sony Vegas. I used to be Final Cut all the way, but Sony Vegas has been a lifesaver for me.
Have you tried Premiere?
Yeah, that's what I started my editing life with, and I love it. I loved it, but it's expensive. And
This is true.
I developed a non-piracy standard. You know, I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, man, if the software didn't cost $800, maybe more people would buy it instead of pirating it. Is my belief. But ever since
there's a way around that. If you sign up for, like, say, a basket weaving class at the local community college, and you get a .edu address, you can get 80% off legally.
Yeah, I find that a great discount having an edu address.
Oh wow.
For Microsoft too, MSDNAA.
I wish I could buy a .edu domain and,
Yeah.
and like sell people email
Just
addresses.
use EDUs.
Right.
When you figure you only need to upgrade once a year, you could sign up for one class.
Yeah.
A one-credit class at any community college is going to be under $100, which will still save you probably at least half the cost.
Yep.
That's a great idea. Should
It's
we
a
do
good
a video
article.
on
It's right there.
I actually tried to convince the educational marketing team at Adobe that they should pitch that as because they're trying to sell more product, because lots of people don't even know that you can use an EDU address to get a discount, and they didn't seem too keen on that.
It's like they force people to pirate software. It's so expensive.
Yeah.
There may be limitations about what you can do with the educational version in terms of commercial usage, but
Exactly, but if you're just doing basic use of it, if you want to use the software, then make it.
yeah, but if you just want to edit your the movies that you take of your stuff at your house, then that's non-commercial use. Use it however you want.
I mean, if you're doing like
You probably don't need such a powerful tool.
that is true.
Like, you can do miracles with iMovie. I mean, I have done miracles with iMovie. The problem is you have to buy Mac.
Yeah.
You can't, and Windows Movie Maker is great if you really like it, but I don't. Like, I can't
It's pretty
stand
horrible
it.
now that it's in part of the Live suite, because they gutted most of the features.
Yeah. We should do a video about this, I think.
Or an article.
Or an article. You know what? We'll do an article and then we'll do a video.
There you go.
Because
Something for next week.
if the video comes first, the article may never show up.
Yeah. Forcing people to buy stuff.
Yeah. Oh God. Photoshop is a standard for photo editing, and unless you use GIMP, man, you're stuck. You gotta pay top dollar for Photoshop.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've never been able to get my head around GIMP. There's something about the user interface that just kills me.
I don't like it.
Even trying to install it, they have that plugin that's supposed to make it more like Photoshop, and still, I just could never use it. It was cheaper time-wise for me to just shell out the money for CS5 or whatever I have right now.
GIMP is like
GIMP
Audacity,
one,
and sorry, go ahead.
Sorry. Is GIMP the one that comes free with Ubuntu?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's also free for
yeah.
Windows or Mac or I think virtually anything else.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's one of those must-have open source programs that nobody wants. I mean, I've worked with open source enthusiasts that swear by GIMP, and I can't stand the darn thing. And I love the idea of free software. I'm as frugal as they come, and I don't know. I need a Photoshop alternative I can pay $50 for, and have half of the features.
But I mean, like Photoshop Elements is not going to cut it.
I haven't tried it.
Yeah, it's half of the features.
Photoshop Elements does not have many of the features that I don't even do that complex of photo editing, but there's been lots of times where I have run up against the limitations of Elements, in part because it doesn't like really massively layered projects. So if you do things with lots of layers, switching over to the Pro version of Photoshop makes a big difference.
Oh.
And a big price difference, though, too.
Big price difference, but at the same time, if you're able to get done what you need to get done, and I use it commercially, so it's very necessary for me to have it.
Right. Yeah, good.
All right, and speaking of necessary software, I'm going to hit record here, and we're going to talk about IRC clients, which is something every Nomi should be familiar with at this point.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
All right.
That seems to be a major pain point in the Nomi's experience.
Yeah, exactly.
Or at least for some people.
All right. Okay, recording is starting. Hi, I am not Chris Perillo. I do have Hangout Juice, and I am taking over. Well, actually, we are. The Nomis are taking over TLDR for this Friday episode, partially because Chris is under 10 pounds of snow right now, and he can't get out. It's
making
terrible.
snow angels.
Yeah, he's making snow angels in his underwear right now. He's on day 3 of it, and
that's his idea of a vacation.
yeah, pretty much. But we're talking about IRC clients, and IRC is basically a technology that's older than the internet, and it is used for the main Chris channel. If you go to live.perillo.com, you're chatting on IRC. There's a little embedded IRC client in there. But we're talking about IRC clients for Mac, Linux, Android, iPhone, and Windows that are great standalone clients. And one of the things that we suggested here in the LockerGnome article is MIRC. How many people here use MIRC?
Me.
I'm using it.
I'm also an MIRC user.
Yep.
It has been around forever, and it is awesome. It may not be free; you still have to pay to register. But if you can put up with a little pop-up that says, "Hey, this is a reminder you need to register," it's practically free, and it's one of the most powerful IRC clients out there. And we recommend how to get set up with the server, how to get your nickname set, and all of that in the article. We also recommend Colloquy if you are on the Mac platform, because MIRC I don't believe is available for Mac, but Colloquy is actually really, really good. I've used Colloquy for a while. I don't know if a power user would find it to be sufficient for scripting and all of that. I don't know if anyone here uses it and finds it as such.
I used it, but the only problem I had with it was those annoying sounds.
Yes, and you have to go through one by one and filter out every annoying sound. If you want somebody to join with no sound, you have to set that specifically. You can't just turn sounds off across the board. That's definitely an annoying part of it as a default. But you can set it. You can customize it to your needs. But yeah, for OS X, it unfortunately is actually one of the best options out there. Do any of you use any other IRC clients for Windows or OS X?
For Mac, I currently use Adium, and I find that alright to use. For general use, I only have it for the Nomi chat anyway, but that is fine.
Yeah,
Yes,
Adium's
that's what I'm using as well.
You're using Adium?
Yeah.
Yeah, Adium's a great IM client. It's for those of you that don't know what Adium is, Adium and Pigeon are basically in kind of the same family. They're both Bird universal IM clients, but they allow you to connect to Google Talk, to Yahoo. They allow you to connect to AIM and IRC. And in my experience, at least, it's always seemed like an afterthought. Like, oh, and we'll add IRC. But it's not optimized for it, at least in my regards. There's a lot of things that they could do better. I don't know if y'all agree.
Well, I notice when I bring it up, it seems to bring up a traditional presence box that's not used for IRC. IRC has another box off on the right side, so it's interesting. I can see what you're saying, where it has like split personality.
Yeah. Yeah, it's an okay solution. I don't personally recommend it, but yeah, Adium may work great for you. That way you can have one program that does everything, which is what it's for. It's for keeping you from having to install Yahoo Messenger and all that. But we're also looking at mobile platforms such as the iPad, iPhone, Android tablets, Android phones, Windows phones, and all of that. For iPhone, we found Rooms, which is an interesting IRC client. Do any of you on iPhone or Android use IRC at all?
Yeah.
I usually don't use IRC on my phone. I usually always use it on my desktop.
Rooms definitely does work well on my iPhone. I've had great success with it, and Android IRC on Android.
Okay. All right, Android IRC. Have you tried AnChat?
Yes. and I didn't like it as much.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's one thing about software is it's always kind of a to each their own type of deal. But yeah, great suggestion. IRC for me is probably still my preference, even though it's an older technology than for example Google Hangouts and all that, because it's one of those things where you can host your own IRC server. You can invite only the people that you want to be part of it. You can password certain rooms. You have full control, and that's something you don't have on many IM clients out there. Yahoo Messenger used to have chat rooms. It used to be, I mean, they may still have some default ones, but they got rid of most of them a few years back. And it just, I want control. I want to create a room and have a conversation with people, and I want control, and that's what IRC gives you. You can script out bots and different things to make your experience as custom as possible, and that's what IRC can do for you. So if you haven't discovered IRC yet, you might want to download one of these clients and check it out for yourself.
I was gonna say Yahoo Chat. You mean Yahoo Bots?
Yeah, Yahoo Bots.
Yahoo Bots.
Yeah, Yahoo. It started out okay, but yeah, it's been taken over.
It went downhill fast.
Yeah.
Now another good Mac client, I would recommend Textual.
Textual. I've heard about that, but I've never tried it. Is there
I've been
anything
using
about
that
it that makes it really good?
I've been using it since it came out in beta, I guess it was. It used to be free. Now he's asking for a little donation. I think it's great for a power user. And if you're doing a lot of networks on Windows, NetTalk.
Okay.
It's a brand new, I don't know if it's actually brand new, but I just found it recently. And it works real well for doing a lot of networks. If you're doing a lot of scripting between, trying to join chat serves, your nicknames on different networks.
Oh, awesome. Awesome. Yeah. Great recommendations.
Because on MIRC, it's hard.
Yeah.
To do that.
What about you, the watcher? What do you recommend? What is your IRC channel or server or client of choice? Go ahead and leave a comment below and let us know. See you later. Saw the timer ticking away on that one. I think I've got like 60 gigs worth of videos so far, and we've only done a little.
So it doesn't let you set the compression, the compression it uses to record the videos?
I think it does. I didn't have a lot of time this morning to do more than make sure that it works.
Right, right.
All right, so we've got that. We've got that. How technology will change your future dining experience?
Just download Perk. That's all you need.
Oh gosh, we can't say that. That's a banned word, isn't it? Perk is great if you're in Seattle. Not so great right now because you can't travel and pretty much everything's closed. But
actually, for as much as Chris likes that app, I have yet to, outside of the area where he lives, find any deals that I would actually want to go to.
Yeah. So I get like a dozen email messages a day from Google deals and Groupon and Living Social, and I get so many deals. There's no way I could chase them all. I mean, Perk may be great, but man, I could pay $20 for $40 worth of food at any restaurant in my area already. Okay, so here we go with the dining experience one, and recording in 3 seconds. Hi, I'm not Chris Perillo, and neither are all these other fine folks from the Nomi's community that are joining us to take over TLDR for at least one more day here in this Friday edition, because Chris is snowed in and he has no power, and right now he's huddled around a campfire trying to stay warm. The poor guy. But we're plenty. We've got our juice. We're warm. We're ready to go. Today we're talking about how technology will change your future dining experience. And this is a great article. It was written by Ron over at lockergnome.com. I'm going to +1 it. I'm going to tweet it and share it. And all of that because, man, I love saving money. And that's one of the great advantages to technology. Apps like Perk and Groupon, Living Social, Social savings and discounts services are definitely part of that. And also, you know, how do you pay for your food when you're at these restaurants? Well, with the invention of things such as the Surface from Microsoft, which you're not seeing a lot of right now, yes, but it is making it easier for you basically just to put your card on a table and you've paid for your drinks. You've paid for your food. You can order right off of a Surface. You don't even have to talk to a waiter. That sounds like a great deal. Probably not for waiters. But I'm going to open this up to the floor. How has technology changed the way you dine, if at all?
Well, I can say I live in a rural area, so a lot of those different applications don't really quite work in my area. So not much over here.
You know, one thing I've noticed is whenever I'm about to go to a restaurant, either my wife's driving or I'm driving, and the one that's not driving, safety first, I will check their menu before we even get there, so we know exactly what we want when we get into the door. And that's something we couldn't do 10 years ago. You know, we could maybe find a website, maybe, if they had one. But at least now through Yelp and other services like that, we can find out not only is there a certain dish we should or should not eat, but what's on the menu, what's good, what's bad. And you can find all that out through technology. I'm a Yelp user. I don't know if any of you guys are. Do any of you contribute to Yelp or any social restaurant review site at all?
Sometimes I contribute to Yelp.
All right. Have you found that your feedback is basically makes a difference at all? Because I know a lot of restaurant managers will actually check Yelp on a daily basis just to see what happened the night before.
I don't know if it's different, but I know I mostly use Yelp just to see if there's something new that's open around here, to see if it's, you know, is it good, is it worth going to, what's the food like.
And I also noticed through programs such as Foursquare, I myself am not a big advocate of Foursquare, but you can save money by becoming the mayor or checking it at a certain place. You can also save money by tweeting the restaurant's official account while you're there. Hey, I showed up. You know, great menu, love it. And they may actually be paying attention enough to respond to you and offer you a discount. There's a restaurant locally owned here in Austin, and I'll just say it, Cabo Bob's, which is a very, very popular restaurant here in Austin. And they're constantly on Twitter checking with people. Hey, I noticed you stayed here. I saw your Foursquare update. Did you like the food? And when you recommend them, sometimes they'll say, hey, come on in. Your lunch is on us. Thank you so much for spreading the word. And that's one way social media, at least, has helped make the dining experience a little bit better, because you're having a two-way conversation with the ownership of that restaurant, which I think can only be a good thing.
Well, I know a lot of restaurants out here as well are doing like almost like an iPhone app thing, where you can check in and check their wait times before you go there, and if you do that, you save some money. You get a percentage off your bill.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I like that.
So you see, like, oh, well, this is a 20-minute wait. Well, I'll check in, and then after 20 minutes we show up. We don't have to wait. You can check in right there through your iPhone, which is really nice.
So is that like done on a restaurant-by-restaurant basis, or is the company that actually does the front ending for that?
Basically, I think it's a restaurant-by-restaurant. I know a couple restaurants out here started doing it, and I've also noticed that the barbershop I go to, the Supercuts, they do it as well. And you could save a couple bucks off your haircut.
That's awesome. That's a great tip.
I'd say probably the two things that I do the most of all are I use OpenTable if I'm traveling, and check to see if they have reservations available, because it can save a lot of time. And sometimes they'll have reservations that are set aside for OpenTable specifically. So even if the restaurant says that it has like a 30-minute or 1-hour wait, sometimes there'll be shorter wait times by looking at OpenTable. And then Yelp, because of how much I travel, and I don't like eating at the exact same places everywhere I go. I know, like, when I was traveling, say, in the late 90s, I would typically just go to chain restaurants because I had no idea what other restaurants around the area might actually be good. And now I'm definitely using Yelp to look for a lot more interesting and local spots, rather than just, say, going to the Applebee's or the Chili's or whatever, because I know where they are.
Right. I know one restaurant that would benefit great from doing that check-in thing, or what you were just discussing, would be Olive Garden. I mean, because they're always packed. It's hard to even get a table there, but when we do, it's awesome.
And also notice that you can actually buy codes for discounts. Like for example, somebody will sell their gift certificate online, and you can usually find a really good deal. For example, hey, a $50 gift certificate for this restaurant. Somebody's selling it for $40. I'm going there anyway. So that's a great way to save money on where you're going.
Jungle. Plastic Jungle is a good place to get those.
Plastic Jungle, awesome suggestion.
.com.
And I did mention it earlier, and we give Chris a hard time about this one because he uses this app all the time, but it's called Pirq, P-I-R-Q. And if you're in the Seattle area, if you're in the Seattle area only right now, that could be an app that's well worth the download. It's a free download, and yeah, you can save a lot of money through that.
So I guess it wouldn't help someone like me from Chicago then, huh?
Not yet. I think they're expanding, but for right now, yeah, it's only in that frozen area at this point in time. But anyway, I guess that'll wrap it up for this video. If you want to, for example, take part in more Hangouts with Chris whenever he gets thawed out, as well as the rest of the Locker Gnome community, take a moment to go to nomis.com and sign up. We have monthly subscriptions, quarterly, yearly, and believe me, it's well worth it. You get discounts, exclusive giveaways, these Hangouts, and a chat that is just for people in the community with like interest. And that chat is probably one of the biggest advantages to being in the Nomis community. So for Locker Gnome, see you later. All right. Cool, this is going awesome. I think we're almost done with the, yeah, we are done with the articles.
Nice.
It was a slow day on the writing side, mostly.
Now we've got the how to fix Shockwave flash crashes is left.
Oh, we do. Where is that? Oh, there it is. Man, Kelly has been writing like crazy today.
So that article you were going to write was about the EDU addresses, or what was you were saying? I forgot, we were talking about it earlier.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
You were talking about, you were going to write an article about, was it the EDU addresses, how to get software at prices that are less than the retail?
Oh, yeah, we were talking about that earlier, about great ways to get deals on software, and yeah. I think that's one of those things where we should probably get the article together. Right. And then talk about it in a video, just because if we do the video first, then the article itself loses steam.
It sounds like an interesting article. Yeah, because I know like Amazon Prime has student educational rates, and a lot of companies use that as a tactic to get lifelong buyers.
The other trick to that is if you have ever been at a university, been assigned an EDU address, if you set up forwarding on that address before you leave the EDU, lots of times that forwarding works forever. I know a couple of people who have been out of college for 5 or 6 years, and they still get email forwarded to their Gmail address from what was their EDU address.
That's cool. Nice. I like that. All right, so this next one's going to, oh man, I sure hope you guys rant. Just let it off the chain. It's the last video on a Friday. We're going to talk about Adobe Flash. Shockwave Flash, which is Adobe Flash, isn't it?
Yeah, it's all the same thing.
It's all the same, man.
Okay. All right, I'm going to go ahead and hit record here in a few seconds. Hi, I'm not Chris Perillo. I'm Matt Ryan, and I'm joined by all the Nomis. That's right, everyone that has signed up through nomis.com, our subscribers, our community members, and our supporters. To you, salute. And we're talking about Flash. Yes, Flash. We have an article up on lockergnome.com. It was written by Kelly Clay. It's called How to Fix Shockwave Flash Crashes in Google Chrome. I use Google Chrome. A lot of people do. It's a really good browser, but you know what? Adobe makes a really, really I'm not going to say bad. I'm not going to say bad. Poorly optimized product, and it's called Flash. And if you're tired of Flash crashing on you in Google Chrome, you need to read this article on LockerGnome.com because it will tell you how to get over this problem, and it is a problem. So I'm going to go ahead and open it up to the floor, let all you guys talk about how bad Flash is, or how good Flash is, if you like it.
I think
I know who you are.
staying on somewhat of the topic of the article, one of the challenges is that this is largely a Windows problem of Chrome automatically includes Flash as part of every update, and Windows typically also has to have a version of Flash installed for various other things, and at times Chrome decides that it's not going to use its internal Flash, it's going to use the Flash that is installed on Windows or vice versa, and so a conflict is created between the two and you end up with this crash. And so as Kelly outlines in the article, the fix is that you got to disable probably the one in Chrome so that you stick with the one on the operating system as being the primary version of Flash that you're using for consistency.
I'm going to knock on wood and say I have not had this problem yet.
I've had this problem on every single Windows 7 machine that I have, which is like, I think
I have not yet, but now that I've said it, you know, like I said, knock on wood.
Aren't we at the point now, though, that we don't need it? Do we still need to have, you know, especially two different versions? And I realize Google Chrome has its own, but do we need Flash?
Let's say you use a product like Google Analytics from Google, which is all built in Flash and won't work if you don't have Flash. So yes,
Yeah.
don't need Flash.
Yeah, unfortunately, you do. Depending on what you do, you're probably going to need it at one point or another. Sadly,
Which
sorry.
I would say kind of falls on the developers in this case. You know, maybe it's time we moved away because more and more people. I'm on a mobile platform right now. I am looking at LockerGnome.com using this little contraction, and you know what? It doesn't. No, Flash does not work on it. And I think more and more people are going to this platform, especially when Windows 8 comes out, and everyone's going to be going to tablets that are Windows users, or
You know
at least assumedly some of them.
Flash will probably work on Windows 8.
It probably will, but it never works
Don't
well.
hope. Don't hope.
I'm sorry. This is just my personal take, but I think it's high time that developers started, you know, embracing things such as, you know, the HTML5, the CSS3, figuring out how the new JavaScript commands and making sites that look just as great as they did in Flash in a more an easier standard for smaller computers and phones to deal with.
I know that was a lot of bragging thing with people with Android. They run up to me and be like, "Oh, you got iPhone? I've got this Android device. It runs Flash," and I'm like, "So?"
Yeah.
I don't
Really?
use Flash that much.
And again, I love Android. I love the Android platform. And Flash is
I
one of
don't
the
have
reasons.
a problem with it either.
But my battery would never last very long if I spent any considerable amount of time on using Flash. It just drains the battery. The CPU is just tanked. I mean, good luck multitasking on that thing.
I'm on the Flash site. Hey, your Android phone's almost dead. Oh, I gotta plug it in.
I just charged it an hour ago.
Just charged
What's going on? I got to hand it to Microsoft on one thing: Silverlight. I like Silverlight. I may be the only one here.
Well, I mean, if you use Netflix Instant Play, Silverlight is what it uses.
Yeah. And Netflix, you know what? It hasn't crashed on me. I have not had that problem with Netflix. I can't watch more than a few YouTube videos without it suddenly going and just crashing on me. I watch Netflix. I can watch it 8 hours a day, and it's fine. It runs perfect. So kudos to Microsoft on that, at least.
Just to say something in defense of Flash, I found, at least compared to YouTube in HTML5, Flash on YouTube, for me, is a much better experience than the current YouTube HTML5 trial thing. I just find that in HTML5 it seems to lag, and it's a bit more, and it's much slower for me, I find.
Oh wow, okay. Definitely, again, every experience can be different. So, yeah, very good points.
Yeah, give it a couple of give it a couple of years, and I think we'll probably start to see websites properly moving away from Flash, hopefully.
I'll say this though for Flash, and in its favor, I wouldn't be able to record this Hangout if it wasn't for a Flash type of backing on it, because Fraps loves Flash.
See, so you do still need it.
I do. Hey, it loves Silverlight too, which is kind of funny because I can actually record for personal use. Of course, I can record, a clip from Netflix and watch it while I'm, in the gym without internet connection, which I think is nice. But that's just one of the advantages I think to having a Flash or a Silverlight still present. You do need something to do video. I just think that Flash, man, its time has come. It's time that developers moved away from it, in my opinion. But that said, see you later. That was kind of a harsh ending, but
That was fine. It's fine.
So yeah, I guess that is all the articles right there. And we recorded an extra one on power outages. So that, I think, would be enough. Unless, Jake, do you have anything, or Kevin, or anyone else?
Nothing really in the lockernom.net questions.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything exciting across my radar today.
And the problem is it's either not exciting enough, or it's so exciting it needs to be an article. But yeah, I guess I'll take this time.
If anybody watching uses DreamHost for hosting, I would recommend going and changing your password because apparently they had a database breach.
Oh, fun.
Oh, great.
I used to use DreamHost. And I tell you, the worst hosting experience I've ever had has always been at a larger host. I enjoy smaller hosts because every time I go to one of those big hosts that say, "Oh, well, we have 100,000 sites and it's awesome and enjoy our shared servers," and they're not overwhelmed, they're always overwhelmed, I find. Maybe a few exceptions out there, but there are a lot of great smaller hosts out there that tend to do a better job, at least for me.
Have you guys checked the new SOPA that's been halted in the house? There's a page on CNET about that SOPA has apparently been postponed or something.
Yeah, it's been postponed.
Yeah.
That's a good thing. It's been postponed until people forget about it.
Then they reattack.
Then they'll try to bring it out again.
So what's the bigger threat, SOPA, PIPA, or what's the other one, ACTA?
I think basically, aren't they all the same?
In essence.
I mean, it's just they just have different names.
It would just seem, if a lot of the protests are focused on one, the others could probably just, fly under the radar. At least to me, I mean, it's one of those things where, like, how many bills have you heard about that they get introduced to Congress, and somewhere along the line in committee, a pay raise is added to a bill about farming, or something like that, and you're like, why are you earmarking that bill like that? I think, isn't there this big hubbub right now about one of the bills, was it a pipeline or something, had a tax reduction added to it, and it just seems like I guess that's the way we do it here in the States. So I'm just waiting for SOPA to find its way into a bill about, jaywalking.
And next thing, there's a law that's saying that you can recopyright public domain works.
You can recopyright it?
Yeah, apparently. Just recently announced today.
That's not good.
So basically, anything you do could be copyrighted now.
Wow.
Yay.
What a
copyright's always been one of those sticky subjects, especially for bloggers. You know, how do you protect what you've written? How do you put your name on it and then prove that you're the first one to come up with it later on? You know, I mean, there's a lot of sticky subjects that are a big deal to bloggers regarding copyright. It all kind of comes down to, you know, persistence, timing, and having enough money to defend yourself when you need to.
What about videos on YouTube? Because a lot of them seem to be like, quote unquote, stolen and put on Meta Cafe or something like that. I'm not sure what the other one is, but there's definitely videos like Chris's videos have been stolen and put on these other sites, and they're like still there today. Like, surely this isn't legal.
Yeah. One thing that always concerns is there was a Creative Commons licensing thing for YouTube videos where you could actually mark your video as Creative Commons, and that's great unless you have advertisement pay for your videos, because then anyone could post it and you lose out. You can't claim copyright on a video you made Creative Commons, at least not in all rights reserved capacity.
Yeah, what happens when like a popular channel uses that video and then they mark the video as copyright, and you're the one who first uploaded? Yeah.
Well, those are all great discussions, definitely, that they need to happen at some point or another, and I look forward to seeing, you know, Locker Gnome post about it, maybe even in a future Hangout we can have that as a part of TLDR. I mean, it's a big topic to tackle, and it'll definitely take more time than than most videos to do so. So I guess at this point we'll go ahead and wrap things up. This has been a lot of fun. Love hanging out with you guys. Hopefully Chris will be thawed out by next week, but it's great having the Nomis with us. You guys are the supporters. You're the backbone of the Locker Gnome community, and we definitely do thank you for not only joining us here, but for supporting us every day at nomis.com.
Thanks a lot. It was a pleasure.
Yep.